Hello and welcome to another episode of Jaxon Talks, everybody. With me, your host, Jaxon Stone. This podcast comes to you every single Tuesday, and this is episode number 67. And we actually have a couple returning guests this week. We have my very dear friend, Jessy, and we have Dunk, the legend, Dunk the Hunk, Bulldog.
Dunk the Bulldog Hunk.
Dunk the Bulldog Hunk.
Yeah.
Dunk Hunk. Dunk the Hunk.
Hunk, yeah. Hunky Dunky.
Okay, well, he's just junking. And so, if you remember, I'm not sure what episode number it was, but I was in Scottsdale.
It's the one everyone knows.
Visiting Jessy, and we had a few issues, recording the pod. We tried once, didn't work. Halfway through it, something happened with the phone, and then we spent the whole weekend hanging out, doing some stuff, whatever. And then Sunday we tried to record again. A couple minutes in, we had the most famous, most viral incident ever happen on Jaxon Talks. Everybody, we had Dunk the Bulldog vomit.
Right in front of the camera.
Right in front of the camera, and you should go to that episode whatever number it is. It's titled Jessy.
Linked here.
Yeah, it'll be linked in the show notes or linked right here. Ben will put it right there. But it's on YouTube, right, or Apple or Spotify, whatever, however you watch this podcast. Then we stopped recording after Dunk threw up. We tried again, third time's a charm. We got through it. Great episode.
Crushed it.
A lot of insight from Jess, from me, about change, relationships, growth over time, some social media conversations, a few funny stories about me from college. And so, if you haven't listened to that one, I urge you to go check that out and then come back to this one, as we'll kind of be building on what we talked about there. But Dunk, welcome back, dude. Thanks, bud. And Jess, welcome back.
Affectionate guest. Hey, thanks. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
In a new scenery.
Yes, so we're now, if you're obviously familiar with this pod, so you know that this setup is my house here in Plano, Texas, also known as Everybody's Land, which if you love Everybody's Land, you should go to jaxonstone.net and purchase some Everybody's Land merchandise. Or you should subscribe to the newsletter at jaxonstone.net. The newsletter is called Random Stuff. It will be in your inbox every Friday, and it's me writing a short, concise piece of information about one specific topic, which includes a quote, an article, a few videos on it, and some updates about the pod. So I urge you to go sign up for that and then subscribe to the YouTube channel. But anyways, that's enough self-promotion. We'll get into the actual meat and bones of the episode so that you don't scroll past this episode and move on to another podcast. Boom. So we're in Dallas. You're in Dallas.
I'm in Dallas. We are both.
We are, all of us. Today is August 28th. 8th, August 28th. So it's a great day. August is almost over. September is a big month. For those that listen to this pod, you know why. In the next episode, actually, wait. Yeah, I don't know when these are going to drop, so don't listen to me. I don't know my own show. But anyways, we start this podcast in a very specific manner, very specific way. Super important question. You know it from before. Regular listeners know it. New listeners, here's a little tidbit as to why I think this question is so important. I think it creates open and honest dialogue, which is one of the key factors in creating more connection between people. More connection creates more understanding. More understanding creates less hate. Less hate creates more love. And so I think just from this one simple question, we can get all the way down to those downstream effects of more understanding, more love, more empathy, more understanding. So Jess, my dear friend, how are you doing? Like, for real?
For real. I'm doing so good.
So good. Oh. Wow. Shout out to that.
On a big summer road trip.
Yeah.
I've been gone 21 days.
Whoosh.
So far. Ooh, sheesh.
Okay, so 21 days you've been gone.
21 days. I think it'll be 25 by the time I get home.
Okay.
So doing good. Seen a lot of people and places along the way. and happy to see everybody's land for the first time. You've had it for how long?
Since January of 2019.
19?
No, 2020, right? What are we in?
21.
We're in 2021. So that means January was this. Okay, yeah, so 2020 I got it. I moved in.
A year and a half.
I moved in January 2020.
So you've had it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cruising along here at everybody's land.
Yeah.
Made some adjustments, I'm happy with the place.
Great spot, great pull-out couch for those of you who may visit someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been here in a while. It's been a long time. 2019.
Since you've been to Dallas?
Yeah. Obviously we took quite a long time off of traveling, and then you came to Arizona.
In April.
Mm-hmm. Scottsdale, shout out.
Old town. Love you.
Yeah, so happy to be here. We're doing we're gonna go to a baseball game soon.
We're gonna see the Rangers play. We'll go with Mom and Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Stone.
Going to a Rockies game at the Rangers Stadium.
Okay, or we're going to a Rockies game at Texas Rangers Stadium.
Yeah, and so we've been eating good food and drinking good drinks and popsicles.
Speaking of, here's an official break to hear from our sponsors. Today's episode of Jaxon Talks Everybody is brought to you by Bud Light, also known as God's Water. The unofficial, definitely not sponsored for real though, unofficially sponsored by God's Water. Refreshing and light. Drink responsibly for ages 21 and up.
I just watched your...
And now back to the show.
What did that thing get?
Chug Bud.
You did it and you were not good at it.
No, I was... Oh, you watched with Al and Sam? Or Al and Tyler?
Yes.
Yeah, I was a bad go.
They weren't impressed.
Not one bit.
All over Al's new house.
New couch, new house. But I got better. That was just a bad go. I was like feeling... It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. I didn't really want to have a Bud Light, but I needed to do it, to get the Chug Buds out there.
All right.
And it just wasn't my best performance, but sometimes that's how it goes, but you...
And then?
You readjust, champions adjust, you get back up and you start again and you keep moving forward, right? And you start to make a few pivots here and there, and then you're just, boom, you're on the right track again, heading to success.
Are you saying you're better at it?
I'm better at it now.
Okay.
Because champions adjust.
Okay.
So... One question. So you're doing great.
So good.
You feel like you're doing really good.
Yep.
Which is lovely to hear. Love that. What sparked this road trip? So you work from home.
Work from home now, permanently.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 3-year-old nephew and a 2-month-old nephew.
Mm-hmm. And they live in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Custer, South Dakota.
People don't know what that is.
You're right. They live on Mount Rushmore.
Yes, that's exactly where they live.
And so being able to go there and spend time with them was a big part of it. I've done that a couple of summers. Gone up there for a couple weeks at a time. What else? But yeah, I kind of just with working from home. First of all, it's miserable in Phoenix right now.
It's very hot.
So hot. They're getting a lot of monsoons too, and I'm what is? Oh, fan time. We engage the fans.
Yeah.
So being able to work from home, I can kind of go wherever and still work, not have to take a ton of PTO and stuff. So I was able to go to South Dakota, roundabout way, come to Texas, see some people along the way, and then I'm here for 5 days.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days.
And then back to Arizona.
Cool.
So yeah.
So family sparked the trip.
Yep.
Me included.
Just added some, added some additional stops along the way.
So you think that working remotely has given you more freedom? Or what's that done to your work-life travel balance? Even though I don't necessarily like that word balance because it's hard.
Subjective.
You know, what is balance? Like, what does that mean? But I'll use that word because I don't have a word that's better than that right now.
Okay. It definitely has opened up some opportunity to, like, because before when you're traveling, it's like, okay, I'm banking up my PTO. I have X number of days in the bank. When I want to take a vacation, I'm going to have to take how many of those? Where will that put me? What if I get sick? Am I going to still have enough? Like, all of these things.
Right.
Now, I mean, I still on occasion take PTO, but now it's like I can go spend time with my family or whoever on nights and weekends and still work during the day, continue banking my PTO for actual like vacation time.
Right.
Not done a whole lot of traveling in the last year and a half-ish, other than driving. So that's, I guess now I've saved all my PTO for when we can travel again.
Right.
Or when it's safe to do so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like does the change in scenery, the change in environment, like spark different work for you, like creatively? Or 'cause I feel like if I'm working, or if I'm trying to create some content or write a newsletter or, you know, whatever, create something for social media that needs creativity or a little bit of life to it, if I change my environment or my scenery or what I'm looking at or who I'm talking to, there's like a little bit of definite bit of flow that comes through me, like, and it's kind of, you know, if I'm sitting in the same place all day expecting like my creativity to spark, I think that's more challenging for myself than like mixing it up or going to a coffee shop. Like it's not easy just to go into the mountains and like have this great creative freedom to do that, but you can like switch it up a bit in the circumstances that are available to you.
I think that's the unique opportunity of working from home, is that because my company before COVID really didn't allow that. So it was very much like a cubicle situation.
Sure.
Sit down at a desk, sit there for 8 hours, and then go home.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I work a lot more hours.
More hours?
A lot more hours.
Okay.
But I pop around my house, or I'm in the yard, or like, you know, go different places and just have a better, I don't know. Like I enjoyed that a lot more.
Do you feel like it's healthier for you?
At the beginning, I didn't. Like, I live by myself, so the social aspect of being in the office, I really missed right away.
Sure.
But in general, COVID was pretty isolating anyway.
Right.
Like, I wasn't seeing friends or family or doing anything like that, and I wasn't going to the office. It was very isolating. But I think as, like, social life started to come back and it was safe to meet with people or go to a bar or whatever, that helped me a lot. Where it's like, I don't... That's Duncan snoring, if you can hear that.
He's had a long day. He went for a couple walks.
Went to the dog park this morning.
You know, he's taking a little snooze boy.
One throw up so far. But yeah, so I think it's good now. I feel like it's a good balance now. But it took a long time to get there.
Right. Do you think, like, moving forward, like outside of COVID, like, say we've solved it, we figured it out, people are healthy, all these things like move in the right direction, and all that happens. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I can't predict the future, and I'm not a doctor. No idea. But let's just say that, because we have smart people on the job working on it, right, figuring it out. Let's say that happens. Do you think that businesses and companies such as yours, like corporate businesses who used to be in offices now have worked remote, maybe they're doing a hybrid setting, do you think that they'll have like a looser structure and give their employees a bit more autonomy and like freedom to work as they had if they were at home, maybe in the office? Because I think that develops a bit more creativity and like lack of burnout, right? If you have a bit more control over your decisions and your creativity, you're again less likely to burn out. So do you think companies will take that into play as they start to navigate what the future will look like for like at home or in office or that hybrid type of style working?
So my company specifically will not be going back.
Ever? Okay.
Like, rid of a lot of office space, sold it off, or didn't renew leases, like things like that. But I think in general, corporate America is going to have to adapt because a lot of companies have moved to a fully remote setup.
Yeah.
And companies who don't even offer that option are losing out on really good talent because of it. And I just think there's a shift happening.
There has to be a shift.
And I think a lot of like corporate big time companies are going to have to start really reconsidering what they're asking of their employees.
They have to.
Yeah. If not fully remote, like a hybrid situation like you said.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, Aaron and I met my new boss today, Elizabeth, who lives just down.
She lives in Rockwall, Texas.
Yep. And I had never met her, and I've worked for her for 2 months now. It's just kind of weird. Like, I happened to be in Texas where she lives, so we met up with her. But it's just like, that's so strange, but it's going to be like a thing that's common.
Yeah.
The last person I worked for 9 months, I never met.
Do you feel like when you met Elizabeth today, you already knew her?
Yes. But the first thing she said was, "What? I'm taller than you?" Mm-hmm. That's such a random, thing that wouldn't happen in an office setting.
But if you're over the screen,
who knows? I'm always sitting.
Right.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Any other points on that?
She was wearing heels, so it doesn't count.
She was wearing heels. Very nice shoes. Mm-hmm. She looked good. Yeah. Any other points to add? Did you make your point?
That was it.
Did you?
Huh?
Okay. Well, I just think there's so many factors, right, that go into this. I think this whole workforce, corporate world culture, which is all predicated on glamorizing hard work. Like if you work weekends and nights and you put in overtime and all of these things, you're seen as a hardworking person. That's what perception is, the reality of that. But if I'm someone who works from home and I work extremely concentrated, ultimate focus in flow state for 90-minute blocks, for multiple times throughout the day, I'm getting more work done in a 6-hour period because I'm not distracted, I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not scrolling on Instagram, I'm getting more work done, I'm getting more efficient work done, but it's only 6 hours. And so I think there has to be some sort of a give and take here where we're looking more at the effectiveness of the work rather than the time spent on the work. And so unless you're getting paid hourly, then that should be looked at differently because you're obviously an hourly employee. Mm-hmm. But if you're a salary person, it's got to be based on not solely on your outcome or your results, but that's what businesses are driven by. Same with sports and all that. But if we're focusing more on that process of how you're getting to that outcome and then paying people for that or rewarding them for those kinds of efforts instead of working weekends and missing their son's baseball game or not being able to take a vacation or just missing weddings and all of these things because we glamorize the effort and the hard work rather than prioritizing some recovery methods and wellness protocols that should be in place, which could be in place more effectively if someone was working from home because they have that ability to take a break here or go walk around because no one's breathing down their neck, controlling their every move. They have autonomy over their life and their work. And so there's got to be some sort of mixture of a pot where that can be sorted out and we can effectively, I say we, I'm not in the corporate world, but we as in people, human beings can effectively utilize all of the strengths and potentiality of the people that we have employed, if that makes sense. Yeah,
I think it's an American problem.
That was pretty well said though, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Crushed it.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta pat yourself on the back, dude. Sometimes you gotta pat yourself on the back, you know? Everyone, stop what you're doing right now. You're listening to this pod. Even if you're driving, right, it's still safe to do so. But if it's not safe to do so, think about this when you get home. I want you to just, right now, recognize yourself. Be like, damn, I am kind of a rock star. Give yourself a little pat on the back. And then if you're safe to do so, put your hand over your heart. Possibly close your eyes. If you're driving, do not do this. If you're just at home,
do this.
Put your hand over your heart. Close your eyes and say, I am exactly where I'm meant to be. And then thank yourself. Boom. And we're back. Cheers. Go ahead.
My favorite part of that was...
that I've got a Truly's stick in my hand?
No. Are you done? Did you make your point? Because I have a really good one I'm about to make.
Oh, you think that's where it came from? No, that's not how it went.
It happened like that. When
I know,
I remember it happened that way.
Because I didn't want to cut you off. So I just wanted to make sure that you have completed your statement and your thought.
Okay.
And then I had a thought with that, like picturing it as you were speaking. You know? Pretty cool.
Good stuff.
But you were going to comment on what I said, though, before I patted myself.
No, I was just... Hold, please. I think it's an American problem, right? Like, just this, like, the workhorse culture.
Yeah.
We have created... What's happening? Stuff.
Poor idea. Like, I saw a little thing on the ground, I put it on there, and then the fan blew it off again. I was like, of course it did. Why? It's like tiny. It's like...
a speck of dust.
Yeah.
But no, I just, like, when you were saying, like, we as people, and I was just saying we as Americans.
American people.
I think it's really an American problem.
Yeah.
Like, so many other countries don't even have 40-hour work weeks.
Right.
Meanwhile, we're like, how can we get the most done in 65-hour work weeks?
Instead of 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, like, statistically speaking, you probably get just as much work done in the 30. That's what they're, like, that's what the studies...
Yeah.
In other countries, they've moved to less work hours, but get equal
work done. Because the literature and the research says that 90-minute blocks are what you have the ultimate, intense, most vigorous concentration for. Outside of that, you just can't do it.
Right.
So you got to take a break. 90 minutes, take a break. Right. So if you can get 3 to 4 90-minute blocks of really intense, concentrated focus solely on exactly what your task at hand is, you're going to crush that work.
Right.
Right? And there'll be probably less errors. So you won't have to go back and redo it, which is something I had to do a lot in high school, right? Because I did my work so poorly, like especially math. I did my work so poorly and tried to rush through it that when my dad helped me with it, it was all wrong. I had to do it again. And I could have just sat down and done it appropriately the first time with some diligence and some effort.
Sounds like the one chemistry assignment you did.
The one chemistry assignment that I did. Please refer back to our previous episode. But yeah, I mean, that's how it should be. Like, and to like ignore how the human body and the human brain works in getting the most out of your people is like, seems very dumb. Right?
And it's like kind of like, I mean, the work day or like work week hours are similar to like, you're not working unless you're sitting in an office at a desk.
Right.
Like, it's such an outdated philosophy of work that like times are changing and we need to keep up.
Right.
You know?
Like, I haven't been in an office in ever. You know, but I feel like I work hard.
Yeah.
Right? But that's also like I work hard at the things that I want to work hard on. Mm-hmm. You know? And some days I'm not. Because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know? Some people don't have that complete freedom.
Right.
Right? But we all make those kinds of choices depending on what we want to do and where we want to take our lives and how much security and stuff we want.
And the opportunities we're given.
Yeah, and all that stuff that has a factor in that. But if we can like maximize our biology and how we're built a bit better, then I think we'll all be a little bit healthier too and have a more like a appreciative view of our work instead of something that we have to do.
Right.
Right? So this, this is, I have to go do this. Because you do have to work, right? For some context, you have to. You need money to pay your bills and to feed people and feed yourself and have a place to live and all these things. They're like really important basic values and necessities, but with all this other stuff involved, it could be a little bit better than that. You know, our
Definitely.
view of that could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have another question for you.
Let's hear it.
So, earlier we were talking about Midwest and kind of like this pattern of life that you have when you live in the Midwest. Or just like a general, it could be for all America or all US, but I think it's very heavily driven in the Midwest where like there's supposed to be this path that you take.
And I almost think it's like, I mean, the Midwest like is our reference just because that's whatever. That's how we learned about it, or like where we were when we learned about it. But I almost think it's like it's small town America stuff.
Sure.
More so than just Midwest.
Yeah.
It's just that the Midwest is full of small towns. It's just like not a big city mentality.
Yeah. Right.
For lack of a better term.
Exactly. And so for you, has there like, since you're like, what, you're 28 now, right? Not married.
Wow. Just let it all out.
You know, you live by yourself. 28 and a half. You live by yourself. You have your own spot. You moved away from your family. Is there a part of you that feels like, this may be a very intense question or maybe totally off base, so you can let me know, that feels like some sort of part of you failed because you didn't follow this path that you were like born to follow or supposed to follow or should have followed?
No. I think part of other people probably feel that about me. Big stuff. Yeah. No,
Say that one more time.
Yeah, it is. I think.
No, legit, say it one more time.
The perception of other people is that they may be disappointed that I didn't follow that, like, meet someone in college, get married, have kids. Like, I should have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old by now, probably. No, 3-year-old, 1-year-old, whatever.
Maybe something like that.
Whatever. But at very least be married.
Sure.
So I think other people may be disappointed about that. I am not. Like, that's just not. And not saying that people who take that path are wrong in any way. That's how they have worked out.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They're what was important to them. When I left the Midwest, I didn't have anyone to hold me there. And I have always been very motivated in whatever I'm doing, but had these like big aspirations of like, I'm gonna go take on everything on my own, because if I wait for someone else, I may never get the chance. And so, call it a blessing or a curse, right? I don't like, maybe that probably held me back from meeting someone at that point.
Maybe.
But I have zero regrets over leaving, zero regrets over the road that I have taken to get where I am. Very like career driven and passion driven and all of these things that I think would have taken a back seat had I taken, a different route.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you think about those folks, whether they're parents, siblings, cousins, whoever they are for you, listener, or for you personally? Do you think about them thinking about your life in a certain way?
Not like regularly, but like I was just home for a couple weeks. And like I was at my grandma's house, who has a bunch of grandkids.
Yeah.
And realized that I'm the only unmarried grandkid. And it wasn't like I was like embarrassed about it or like at all. It was just like a weird. Like that's just like, I mean, normal up there.
Yeah.
Right? But it was just kind of funny, and I'm not the youngest either. So, but no, and I, like, no one's ever said anything, like, which is good.
Right.
Nice of them. But I'm sure it still crosses their mind.
Crosses their mind.
Yeah. Just because that's what they know.
Yeah.
Or what they experienced. But, yeah, no regrets.
Do you have any words of wisdom or advice for maybe a current listener who might be feeling some of the same things you are? Maybe they're a young person stuck in a place, environment that is maybe holding them back. Or they feel like their desires, wants, needs, passions have outgrown the place that they're in.
Yeah, I would say, like, you ultimately have to do what's best for you. Like, in my situation, I'm sure my family, like, my parents didn't want me to move across the country necessarily, just because of not seeing me very often and not being around for things, and a lot of friends, too. I mean, that I moved away from, and, I mean, but ultimately, like, they move on with their lives, and I deserve the same. And I think you're right, I did. I realized that I wasn't going to get what I wanted out of life in small town South Dakota.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with staying. There's nothing wrong with small town South Dakota or wherever it might be.
We love it. We have a lot of love for it.
I just knew that that's not what I wanted long term.
Right.
So
I think it's like, I think what you had was just trusting your gut and your intuition.
Right.
Like letting it lead you down some sort of path, a very unknown path. A state, a city where you knew no one, not a soul.
I had like some extended family there, which were like, oh, like we're gonna be leaving for a few months, come stay at our house while we're gone, kind of thing. And that's basically how it happened. I didn't have a job, I didn't have friends, I had a bedroom and a closet to put my stuff in, and
you figured it out from there.
Figured it out. Dunk made some friends, I made some friends.
Boy, Dunk! He's cashed out.
He's cashed. He's playing cameraman right now.
Yeah. Oh, big stretch.
Not a very good one.
Oh. Well, cool.
Yeah.
You have any questions for me?
When you went to the Midwest, did you notice that too? Like that kind of like life pattern that a lot of people followed the same one?
Yeah. I noticed that. But like just people like really want security.
Right.
Like they want to do things that are comfortable for them and what they know, and that's what people know because that's what their parents did.
Yeah.
And that's what their grandparents did. And that's what whatever did. So that's what they feel like they need to do or should do. And should's like one of the most dangerous words in the world. Like, should I do this? Well, do I want to? Does it benefit me? Where's the value in it? There's other questions that you need to ask yourself in terms of making decisions. But that's another tangent. But anyways, yeah, I saw that a lot. And so like, my parents pushed me to go to college, right?
Right.
But I think that was fine, right? If I was a young, I've talked about this with my mom now. Like if I was a high school kid now, my mom says that she would not just push me to college.
Really?
Because there's other options.
Yeah.
What if do I want to do something specific? Do I do this? Am I into that? Am I into this? Do I know my what my major, like all these things go into practice now. It's not just like high school, college, whatever. There's so many different directions you can take your life. You just have to be willing to go after that path. And it's nice to have people in your life who can support that decision, like my parents, or, you know, me with you, right? Or whatever. But if you don't have that, and your parents or the people who raised you or your guardians are expecting you to go in a specific direction, and you feel like that's not for you, like exactly what you said, you have to make that choice that's ultimately best for you. And sometimes making decisions that are best for you, you ultimately let people down in a way that's out of your control. And so that's really on them for that decision. If they see you become this person who's successful, happy, fruitful, fulfilled, all these things that I talk about, then eventually that feeling of them being let down will subside if they're truly someone that cares for you and loves you, and they'll see that. But that's a hard decision to make as a young person.
I was going to say, like, you are not responsible for the expectations someone else has of you.
Exactly.
And, like, it was funny being back, like, I've heard just on this trip, like, from several people, like, I'm always watching, you know, your Instagram, or, you know, what you're doing on Facebook, and I'm just so jealous of all the fun things that you do and everything. And it's just like,
why don't you do it?
Well, it's just like, I never think of that, right? Like, I never think that anyone's from back home is like looking at my life like, wow, cool, look what you're doing, and like stuff like that. But I think some of those people, you're right, would have been the ones that are like, are you sure you want to leave? Are you sure you want to move across country?
Right.
Are you sure you want to be by yourself? Are you sure? Like, all of these things. And it's like, yeah, eventually, like, the pressures and expectations are just...
Mm-hmm. Because that's an internal projection of something that they might be a little fearful of, because they probably thought about the same choices that you're making. And so they're saying that to you as a way to say them to themselves, as to rationalize why they never made that choice. And so that's challenging, but I definitely saw that in the Midwest a lot, you know. But yeah, you have the ability. You know, there's a lot of unpredictability that comes with life, and a lot of things that get thrown in your way that we have absolutely no control over. The ups and downs, the highs, the lows, whatever, all the stuff in between, right? It's unpredictable, but you do have some choice. Ultimately, you do on what path you choose to walk on. On that path, there'll be the setbacks, the bumps, the hiccups, the punches in the face, all that stuff. But you still can go down that path that you see as the one that's best for you. And if you keep walking on it, there's no run. You don't have to sprint, right? It's not a race, right? There's no timeline. But if you just keep walking down that path that you feel like your gut is telling you to walk on, or your heart is telling you to walk on, it's going to ultimately lead you to something, at least one thing that will make your body, mind, and heart jump for joy, I think.
Yeah, make it worth it, right?
Right.
Like, hard decisions come with big payoff.
And if you want to know how to make those decisions in your life more easily, or if you want to be able to show up more authentically as yourself by living through your personal philosophy or your values, there's a way to do that. There's a way to practice that. There's a way to hone in on that. And there's a way to implement that into your life. And if you want to check out the most episode right before this, so it'd either be episode 65 or 66, titled Authenticity, I go into detail about that, an actual thing that you can do, write down, practice, and implement into your life, about how to filter your thoughts, actions, movements in a way that filters it through your values, so that when hard decisions come into your life, difficult challenges come into your life, you have a mechanism for a way to make those decisions line up with your personal philosophy. Because a lot of people, I think, are inherently good people, but they don't know the set of values or strengths that they have, so they don't know how to make difficult decisions because they don't know what values they want to stand by. Do you want to stand for love and empathy, inclusion, acceptance, hard work, whatever? Like, I don't know what your values or your strengths are, but if you actually figure them out and write them down, then it's easier to make those hard choices, because you want to stand for this thing. This is what you stand for. And if you want to actually be about the things that you talk about, then that's how you filter your actions. And so, a little tangent there, but I think that's a really good episode to check out. Or you can text me on my number and we can do some fucking one-on-one. I'm glad I said that word there. We can do some one-on-one coaching, which is also an option. If you also go to jaxonstone.net, there's a place there you can check out the coaching stuff, as well as subscribing to the newsletter and as well as checking out the store. Ooh, Duncan's awake from his nap.
You clapped.
Oh, I did.
Super loud music.
Duncan is awake from a
Came
nap,
alive.
which means I think it's a good time to wrap this boy up.
All right.
Do you have any last minute thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, big topic that we were talking about yesterday.
Oh.
Huge.
Oh. Sweet.
What would you do with the Powerball winnings?
Oh.
Literal huge topic.
I just don't. So what? You win $320 million.
Which I have honestly no idea. So
say you come away with $150 million.
I mean, I found out it's better to win in Texas.
Yeah.
Because there's no income tax.
Oh, right.
But I accidentally bought my tickets in Oklahoma. So
did you win?
it's tonight.
It's tonight.
The drawing's tonight.
What would I do with $150 million?
Yep. First purchase.
I would open up the You Are Loved Wellness Center that's my dream.
Ooh.
So what it is as I guess I'll just let the people know, this is my ultimate goal for You Are Loved, right?
Okay, here first.
You Are Loved right now is officially a nonprofit organization. We sponsor and support groups and sponsoring people's mental health treatment or medication. And I guess I'll announce it here first as well. Our first fundraising event, with the money going towards those specific things and being able to expand our support groups and expand how many people we can sponsor for treatment, will be on March 10th in Denton, Texas. It'll be a 2.5-hour event. We'll have some live music, a comedian, there'll be some tacos and food. We'll talk mental health, and we'll kind of explore all that stuff. So that'll be our first fundraiser event. More details and tickets you can purchase will be available. But if you go to youarelovelife.com and you want to donate right now, you can do that. But our first event will be March 10th. So that's kind of the first push into expanding You Are Loved. But the eventual goal is to have the You Are Loved Wellness Center, which would be just a whole holistic approach, body, mind, spirit, to wellness. So we'd have a private practice with therapy and counseling, right, for mental health, addiction. Support groups would be attached to that. Would be licensed social workers, licensed counselors, psychiatrists, and psychologists all in this one sphere. And then attached to that, we'd have a yoga center. Attached with the yoga center is meditation. And then we'd also have a mindfulness center where we do classes and courses and educate people on mindfulness and mental health and how to implement that into schools and communities. And then we'd have a full physical fitness gym center with a dance studio and Tai Chi and then obviously weights and all that stuff with some personal trainers mixed in. And so the whole wellness center deal. And some cryotherapy, probably massage, maybe acupuncture, all these things that can super impact mind, body, spirit, all in one place. Hopefully for a super low membership price, and you can kind of do everything all in once. But I haven't just really figured out the membership pricing yet because I don't have the funding to do that yet. But if I won $150 million, that would literally be the first thing I would do. And then probably everything else in my life would stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah. I might go on a cool trip with my friends.
Thanks for adding that part.
I mean, I would definitely do that. But I always do that.
That's true.
That's true. I would just go on a bigger trip.
What I say
and I would pay for my friends.
So yesterday, I was I would go on some super sick vacation.
Yeah. We'd do a month long.
And then pay all of my friends' mortgages off.
That's sweet.
Right? Because what a thing to not have to stress about.
Mm.
And if everyone's happy in their homes.
Yeah, I love that.
But then we're talking today about houses in different cities, having different different places to go.
I think that would be cool too. Just a bunch of different spots.
Yeah. Cabin in the mountains.
Yeah, definitely a cabin in Montana. Something in Scottsdale.
I was gonna say
something in San Diego.
New York City apartments.
Something overseas. But I would do this. Yeah, I would do the same work I do now. I would just travel way more. I'm not someone who like would really like a private jet. I don't like doesn't fancy me. I don't like mind getting on an airplane and it's like cool.
I would probably fly first class.
I don't like mind going to Walmart. You know, I like that
I would still I would still shop at the cheap grocery store.
But I would do that to start, and then friends and family would be benefited greatly.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like I would pay for so many sporting tickets.
Yeah, a lot of sporting tickets.
Like I want to go to all of the big games.
I would, just do more of the stuff I'm doing now.
Yeah.
It's a bigger level.
So, maybe by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That'd be fucking sweet.
But keep my name confidential if I win.
Okay. I mean, there's a few people that listen to this, so it won't be too confidential.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Is that all you got?
Yep. That was my burning question.
Closing thoughts, remarks, comments, questions, funny stories, shout-outs.
Apologies that there was not a better performance by Duncan today.
Oh, talk about how many people that messaged you about the...
A lot of people reached out about that episode and were like, oh my gosh, that's classic Duncan, textbook move by your dog. Like, because everyone knows he has all of the problems.
Yeah,
and it just all of a sudden got caught.
He's a good boy.
And I put it on my story on my Instagram, and then actually my new boss, like before she even really knew me, was like, all right, like confession, I Googled your name and I found this podcast, and I was like, where my dog threw up, and she was like, yes, but then I watched the whole thing and it was so good, and so she knew all about Aaron too. So yeah, big stuff. Dunk making moves.
Oh boy, Dunk.
He's an ambassador for you.
He is. We did a great reel yesterday. So, great episode.
You should have You Are Loved pet merch.
Ooh. That's a great idea. Anyone's listening graphic designer would like to design that, please reach out. That'd be awesome. You Are Loved pet merch. Sounds fantastic. Because dogs, animals in general, are great for our mental health, great for our overall livelihood, for our just sense of being and belonging. They're just beautiful. All animals, beautiful creatures, and we love them.
Dunkster and Chewster can be
little life-saving creatures.
Or models for your merch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining me again, Jay.
You bet.
You're a rock star.
Thanks for having me.
I love you with all my heart.
Love you.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully the same people that watched us part 1 will watch this one too. Sorry for no vomit, but I might vomit later. We'll see.
Looking likely.
Anyways, happy Jay's here at Everybody's Land. Thank you for watching. Please share this episode with a very close friend. Maybe your best friend. Or maybe someone you haven't talked to in a while who you've been thinking about and you want to reach out to them and show them a little love. So show them love by sending them this episode, and then subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you back next week. Cheers.